That's right, Emma. So just issued by the National Weather Service a couple of minutes ago, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for the Tulsa area up towards Owasso, Broken Arrow, Bixby, Coweta, Muskogee, Wagner, Okmulgee, and Bristow. And that does include the Interstate 40 area. And it looks like that trend of what that storm is moving, it's moving at 70 miles per hour. Radar indicated we could see a little bit of hail embedded within that storm, but certainly this is what we're talking about right now, that severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15. So we could see some damaging gusty winds within these individual cells. Luckily, we don't have any tornado warnings within the cell right now. But of course, some of these heavier reflectivity values up towards north of Bristow and crossing through Okemah and just to the north and northeast of Okemah, we have to keep kind of a close eye on those individual cells within the whole severe thunderstorm warning because those could pack quite the punch. We're looking at shear values, wind shear and throughout the atmosphere, the change of wind direction with height and speed, and we're not seeing too much in the way of strong to extreme rotation with that wind shear. So all weak rotation within the individual cells right now. So that's great news as we inspect even deeper into that severe thunderstorm warning. Up towards the north we go. Kind of a slower moving part of the storm is this section here. So in throughout central and western Osage County, we have some individual cells still looking at that severe thunderstorm warning until 11 for the Ponca City area, tornado warning, and that does include the Kay County area until 10:45. We're seeing some lightning strikes around the Tulsa area within this field of view. We're seeing about 10 to 15 strikes, so not as potent with those lightning strikes as what we saw last night during the 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock hours. That storm system that passed on through eastern Oklahoma last night was packing much more of a punch, including those lightning strikes. So not as strong with those lightning strikes tonight across the area. Several severe thunderstorm warnings down towards Henrietta and Wetumpka and down towards Holdenville, and especially south and southeast of Ada. We're seeing some rotation with that cell and probably some embedded hail within that. Anytime we see those black colors on dual Doppler radar, Viper 4D, that is certainly indicative of some large hail being thrown from the atmosphere down to the ground. So we have to watch that as it moves into southeastern Oklahoma over the next several hours. Of course, the system is moving very fast tonight, upwards of 60 to 65 miles per hour. Pryor is starting to see a little bit of rainfall starting to approach you up towards Chelsea and Choteau, seeing just a few isolated showers. Pretty dry conditions in Choteau, but the storm system is on the way in the next couple of minutes. Wagner seeing just a little bit of reflectivity there, but it gets wet around Porter and Coweta. Dry conditions, though, in Oakay and Muskogee, but certainly Bixby and off towards the south, that's where we start to see a little bit of that moderate to heavy rain at this time, Mike.
All right, thank you very much, meteorologist Emma Landeros and meteorologist Brandon Woolley, as we track this line moving to the northeast. Again, a very dangerous storm complex just for the fact that the winds and the potential for tornadoes embedded within these lines has been significant this evening. We've had history of numerous tornadoes reported along this line. It is not producing any rotation right now. We look at velocity and we continue to see the potential for straight line wind damage along this line. So that is good news. It's transferred more to a linear and then it is not as much as broken where we kind of had like a little meso low develop along that, and that's where we're seeing that tornadic activity. So that's kind of dissipated, and now we're just looking at more linear activity. As Brian mentioned, the storms down the south pretty intense, and that's going to be heading towards McAllister. So McAllister, be prepared for the potential for damaging winds to roll your way. Big picture right now, show you what we've got going on here. This is the replay. We saw the tornado warning earlier. That storm's still moving into northern portions of Okmulgee County. A line of thunderstorms heading towards McAllister. More severe weather heading into western portions of Osage County. That's going to continue to track to the northeast. We go back in here to the metro area. We have scattered showers and thunderstorms in the metro region. Heavy rain in Bixby right now. Some showers in the Mounds area. And we're going to take a look at our Wade's RV Weather Camera Network. This is our 4K cam in South Tulsa. And you can see scattered showers in the area right now. The camera's shaking a little bit because we have some strong winds in the city of Tulsa right now. Wet roadways, 71st and 169. And we come back over here to 2 News Oklahoma. And Luckily, we are not tracking any tornadic activity moving into the metro region right now, but we are watching this intense area of activity southwest of Mounds, moving to the northeast. We're going to see winds and heavy rain pick up southern Tulsa County through much of Okmulgee County. The potential for winds, again, up to 60, 70 miles per hour will be possible as this moves towards Haskell, Coweta, and then clips. I'm just going to get a draw on here for you where I do expect the northern fringe of this to continue to track to the northeast. So it's within this boundary here where we could see some significant winds move through the Beggs area into Haskell and to Coweta as well. Another activity out where James is at. This is still intense as well. It's severe warned right now, just because these storms can produce winds that could cause some damage. Meteorologist Michael Sager, let's get an update on his location. Michael, where are you at, and what are you seeing right now?
Mike, we are on Highway 16. We have now gone to the east of Highway 75, so we are in Okmulgee County. We're eventually going to work our way and kind of turn around to get you a shot of the incoming storm. That strong line of storms that has been a severe line of storms has been working now into parts of Okmulgee County. Here's the view out our front right now, or actually out the back, kind of pointing back toward where the more intense storm is as we're driving along here. So we've got a camera on top of the R. Turley storm chaser. I've angled it back to the south and west. You can see the raindrops flying by here as we continue here east on Highway 16, and seeing some distant lightning there. Might be a little tough there with all the raindrops that you're seeing flying by, but we're going to get ourselves a good position and work our way into a good view as these storms approach us here. Just want to get a good sample of what these storms are doing as they move into Okmulgee County. But we're Highway 16. We're right now probably a few miles east of Highway 75. Continue to work east here on Highway 16. Where we are locally, we've got the rain, the distant lightning, and still dealing with some of those gusty southeasterly winds coming in out ahead of this line.
And we're seeing, of course, thank you so much, Michael Sager. Really appreciate your report. We're just getting some information from our storm chaser, Mark Folta, and he is seeing a whole bunch of emergency vehicles westbound on the Turner Turnpike. I don't know where they're headed to, but might see if something is happening or to the west of there. So our chaser, Mark Folta, seeing a whole bunch of emergency vehicles westbound on the Turner Turnpike. So we'll have to keep watch on that to see what that develops into. But still looking at this severe thunderstorm warning for Tulsa off towards the south. A pretty intense line there just to the west of Okmulgee. This goes until 11:15. And towards the north, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado warning that does encompass the Ponca City area, and a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings. Henrietta down towards Holdenville, and now including the McAllister area until 11:30. Certainly that segment there to the west of McAllister has hail, it has rotation, and a whole lot of wind with it. We'll send it back to Mike.
All right, thank you very much, meteorologist Brandon Woolley, tracking this as well. Let's go to Mike Scantlin, who's been watching this impressive storm system. Mike, have you been able to get out of the heavy rainfall? I look at your shot, and it doesn't look like it. Looks like you're still
No, I don't think we've made it. We've lost ground on this thing as it's gone east, and at this point, I'm going to let it go because if I speed up, try to get out ahead of it, I get into the worst rain, and I have to slow down, and I can't see anything. So I'm just going to let it go because we've been trying for about 40 since it was just east of Shawnee, trying to get through this core, and it's just moving so fast, and the winds are just so chaotic, they're so unpredictable. We'll have southerly winds at 50 plus miles an hour in the core, and then it'll be like this weird stagnant zone, and then you'll get a real strong gust out of the north, and it really throws you off because, usually when that happens, when you're in a squall line or in the core of a storm, it means there's something developing near you. And, I'm letting it go. We're gonna follow in behind it and probably take 75 north. But, very impressive wind fields, just really strange evolution. I think scientists are probably going to study the evolution of this system from the Texas Panhandle all the way across the state for a long time because it just did a lot of really weird stuff. and it produced a lot of tornadoes in ways that I would never expect them to.
Yeah,
So
right.
just the dynamics in this system are unbelievable. If we hadn't had Arctic air over our area in the last few days, today would have turned out a lot differently. So thankful that it didn't turn out that way, but just a very dynamic system. I can't believe it did what it did with how small of instability we had in place out ahead of this line. It just kind of did what it wanted without the instability. And I've never seen anything like it. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah. And we're lucky now. We're not in the woods yet by any stretch of the means, but
Sure.
Where we sit right now is we're just dealing with, like you mentioned, strong winds within this complex of storms from Mounds to Beggs down towards Okemo. We're not seeing any indicators right now of any rotation whatsoever. We look at velocities and we see this line, and that's just strong winds within that, embedded within those thunderstorms. We're not seeing any rotation at all, which is great. Hope it stays that way. Again, damaging wind potential moving towards Okmulgee. Some stronger winds starting to pick up towards Mounds and on the back edge of this. So we're going to watch this area. Tulsa's not done with this yet. We got to get this past east of the area, and then we got to, of course, get this out of Oklahoma. That's what our whole goal is here. But again, for the metropolitan area, we're watching this area of activity from Mounds back towards the southwest, towards Glenpool. Let me put on the lightning tracker, and I believe I hit the lightning tracker. And so, yeah, there we are. Not a whole lot of lightning, which is pretty impressive in itself. A few strikes southwest of Preston, but that's pretty much it. We zoom out even further, and we just don't see a whole lot of lightning. We saw a lot of lightning earlier, but not so much now. As we look to the northwestern portions of Osage County, this line continues to slowly move northeast. We'll be pivoting into southeastern Kansas over the next 30, 45 minutes. So that's going to move northeast. And then this area of activity, this kind of muddled mess, is going to continue to pivot to the northeast. And that's really interesting. I don't have the lightning tracker on here. I need to put that on. But not a whole lot of lightning left over. Earlier, it was just amazing how many strikes we were getting. Now, not so much. So the most intense part of this thunderstorm right now, from Kiefer to Mounds, moving towards Bixby. Need to prepare for damaging wind potential. So this warning goes until 11:15. So every time I have to click out of it, so that it gets rid of that box. But you see what I'm doing here. But this storm still moving into Bixby. Need to prepare for damaging wind potential in the Bixby area, up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. Let me give you a track on this area of activity. This first batch, we're going to move this again so fast to the northeast. Bixby at 10:57, Bixby High School 10:57, Cedar Ridge and Broken Arrow at 11:01, Indian Springs 11:03, the Warren Theater at 11:03, Bass Pro Shop at 11:08. Again, that's within the next 30 minutes. Racing to the northeast, that's the first area. We'll let me clear that out, give you another track. Let me actually go here, and I'm going to pan this down and zoom this out just a little bit, because this thing is just flying to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. Bald Hill at 11 o'clock, Jamesville at 11:11, Yahola at 11:13, Flushé at 11:15. Those are the areas that are going to be impacted here in the next 30 minutes. But again, Wagner by about 11:30. This thing is going to be out of the state by around 12:30. That's how quickly this thing is moving to the northeast. It is flying to the northeast. Let's check in with meteorologist Michael Sager, who's in the R. Turley Roofing Storm Truck. Michael, give us an update on your location and what you're experiencing.
Yeah, right now we are at Highway 16. We are north of Morris, and watching this next line about ready to move in. So we are seeing some lightning here off into the distance, and with right now a fairly decent core. I mean, we're not looking at anything as intense as what we saw earlier, but a fairly decent core here south of Beggs and to the west of Okmulgee, and it's working its way northeast toward our location here. And currently, let me just I'm going to do this real quick on my phone, get the distance of how far we are here. So we are about 7.5 to 8 miles to the west of, or to the east, excuse me, of Highway 75 on Highway 16, and that puts us also about 8 or 9 miles north of Morris. So we're looking, there we go, there's some lightning there off into the distance that we're seeing, and again, we're watching this stronger core move our way, and I'm thinking about just kind of letting this roll over us to see what we're dealing with. I think it's the intensity's down from what it was before, and we'll kind of sample this core as it moves over us.
Continue to watch this interesting storm system. It is a very interesting.
And we're seeing on dual Doppler radar Viper 4D, no active tornado warnings at this time, which is great news. Just several severe thunderstorm warnings from the north towards the south. So our viewers in throughout southeast Kansas, we're seeing that stronger line moving just to the east of Arkansas City, and down towards Ponca City. We did have that previous tornado warning that has been allowed to expire, and so just a little sliver of northwestern Osage County to the north of Pawhuska, we're seeing that severe thunderstorm warning until 11. Down towards the Tulsa metro area, Tulsa down towards the Brookside area. So from basically downtown Tulsa down through Brookside or so, Riverside Drive, not seeing a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. But we go off towards the south, and this whole box here, it's because of this line segment. So right about here, that's what we're concerned about, packing a punch with a lot of lightning strikes. And also we're seeing maybe some damaging gusty winds within that line moving off towards the northeast. So Bixby, Haskell, Coweta, Broken Arrow, Porter, Muskogee, prepare for some stronger gusts to come in with that line segment. And down towards McAllister, that one cell is just to your west at this time, Mike.
All right, meteorologist Sam Landero is still watching as well with the winds, and of course some more updates on the damage as well. Emma, give us an update.
Yeah, I do want to point out right now what we're seeing in terms of power outages across the whole state of Oklahoma. We have nearly 64,000 customers right now without power. Just to give you a little heads up as these storms start to push through. In terms of those wind gusts right now, based off the latest update, we are seeing near 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts just south of Tulsa, Okemah right now, 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts as we continue to push further towards the north in Osage County. Now, as we continue right now, like what I'm looking at in terms of green country is at least 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So it is definitely going to be a breezy night for us. Prior 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts, Nowata at 39-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 44 in Pawnee. Mike.
Okay. And again, 44 in Pawnee, that's actually pretty impressive. So again, watching this activity move to the north. Let's go ahead and stick with Scantlin. Brittany, our wonderful news director here. Yeah, okay. So we're going to watch this. Just tell me what to do next, and we'll go there. Watch this activity in Mulgay and Beck. Still very intense, still showing the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. And then back to the northwest, we have still a complex of storms southwest of Ramona, not too intense. And then we have storms in northern portions of Osage County. They're severe but not tornadic. And luckily right now we do not have any tornado warnings in place right now at this hour. So that's great news. What we saw though is just numerous tornado warnings from southwest Oklahoma that developed. We saw wind gusts that were extreme, up to 110, 115 miles per hour. And then it moved to the northeast. And then once it got in here to eastern Oklahoma, it has weakened some. And that's great news. Let's check in with Mark Fulton. Mark, you said the wind's starting to pick up. Give us an update on your location, what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know if they're intersecting or what, but right here at the Creek Turnpike, that Highway 75, I'm getting some 50, sometimes up to maybe 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. And, you know, I'm up on the very north tip of this thing, but it's not really showing a lot on velocity. So, not really sure what's going on, but that's definitely get some really good winds. I don't know if you can tell on my shot or not, but the rain is just flying through the air here, probably 50, 55 mile an hour, Mike.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate that. Again, keep an eye on that. If the wind gusts continue to increase, we'll be checking in here with you shortly. But this is just the part of the system. Whether you're on the northern flanking side or within the middle of it, you are going to be dealing with very strong winds at this hour. We look at no rotation whatsoever. We look at velocities, and we're seeing these little pockets of darker green here or brighter green. And that's just indicative of some stronger winds. So let's go to our Wade's RV Weather Camera Network. This is our 4K camera, and this is a little higher up. And you can see it shaking just a bit, and that's some of the stronger winds coming into southern portions of Tulsa County. And so this is looking back to the west, and the river was right here where it's dark. There's the Arkansas River. And all in all, not too intense. Now, the winds are still strong in southern portion of Tulsa County, but nothing too impressive, so that's good. We look at Owasso, some scattered showers in the area, Brookside, and all is quiet except the camera shaking a little bit with some heavy rain moving into the area, but nothing that we can't push through in the short term. So that's good. Mike Scanlon, again, give us an update on your location. Mike, one thing's for certain is as these storms moved in northeast Oklahoma, they lost their energy with them. And, we could allude that to taking so long to get that moisture return back and the instability being pretty low. The upper level system finally lifting to the north. Give us an update on what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, Mike, I am coming into Henrietta here on Interstate 40, and it's just miles different than what we were seeing an hour ago. These storms were producing tornadoes an hour ago, and they've lost quite a bit of steam. I would still take the severe warnings seriously because those extreme winds are just a couple thousand feet off the ground, and it doesn't take a lot to mix them down, and it can happen really quickly. If that severe warning is out, I trust National Weather Service Tulsa and their judgment for issuing those warnings, especially with how harshly worded those warnings are. They're very strong wording in these severe thunderstorm warnings, and still take those seriously, but definitely trending downward. Especially this little nugget that we're on down here on I-40 is it's almost completely gone. So that's good news. The winds are significantly slower. I don't think we've had a gust over 30 or 40 in the last 20 or 30 minutes here. So, trending downward. That's really good news as this thing moves east into our viewing area, into green country. But, I didn't think they were going to make it this far, and they definitely overperformed my expectations, and they have all day. So happy to see them trending downward as they move across eastern Oklahoma, Mike.
Yeah, definitely some good news. Let's go back to radar right now, and we continue to see the showers and thunderstorms across the metro region. We're going to go back to radar. Just give me a second here. We'll get that going once again. And we still see that line moving across southeastern portions of Tulsa County, just west of Bixby down towards Old Mulgee. The northeastern part moving the northeast, the southern flanking part moving to the east. Pretty rapidly, still about 50 miles per hour. And again, this is going to continue track east. We have some more thunderstorm activity southeastern Osage County. We're going to watch that. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northern portions of Osage County, southern portions of Kansas. And so, again, big complex from south central Kansas into east central Oklahoma, tracking to the east, damaging winds possible. With this line as it continues to make its way to the east. We'll give you the latest track on this over the next hour with Future Scan. And look how quickly this moves east. So by midnight, already approaching the far eastern portions of our area, we do have the tornado watch in effect until 1 a.m. But as far as we're concerned right now, still severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southern portions of Tulsa County. This complex here. Emma, what is the Mesonet and Bixby right now, wind speeds?
Right now, Mike, we're at 32. Okay,
so we have 32 mile an hour wind gust in Bixby. Let's go back to our Wade's RV Weather Camera Network. And this is our 4K camera. And we're just watching for any stronger wind speeds that do develop. You can see the rain current here just off the lights on our 4K camera. But nothing too significant right now across southern portions of Tulsa County. It might actually increase further once the complex actually moves east of the area. Emma, what are the wind speeds right now in Bristow, in the Creek County area?
Bristow, we're at 30 miles per hour.
Okay. And what is the strongest wind gust we have right now here in eastern Oklahoma?
Right now in Talala at 45 mile per hour wind gusts.
Which is pretty unique. So this is going to take 40 mile an hour wind gusts north of the complex. And this just goes to show you how impressive this system is with we have a little shower here where James Rogers is watching, probably seen some strong winds with him. And it just goes to show you these pockets of stronger winds are going to continue to develop off and on over the next couple of hours. But this complex now moving across southeastern Tulsa County through Bixby. This one had the tornado on it earlier and produced a tornado. Doesn't have that right now. We're not seeing any signs of that. Let me just, obviously want to keep a very close eye on this. Look at velocities, see if anything's changed. We're starting to see maybe a pocket of some stronger wind damage potential southwest of Bixby. We look and see, we can see that right now with our wind damage detector north of Hectorville. We're going to watch for some stronger winds in that area, and then some strong wind potential from Schulter to Mulgi to Henrietta right now within that really strong complex of storms racing to the northeast away from the Beggs area. So a very active pattern that continues. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until 11:15. It includes Wagner, Oklahoma as well. Meteorologist Brandon Woolley, of course, watching this. Brandon, what catches your eye the most with this activity?
Yeah, we've had some questions come in about Shakota, the sirens going off in the Shakota area, and that's just kind of an emergency management thing. So wondering why the sirens are going off in Shakota, if they were set off by lightning or something else, but they're actually set off by the emergency management due to those 60+ mile per hour winds incoming. So that is the criteria of the emergency management team in Shakota. If they sense or know that those 60+ mile per hour winds are coming into the Shakota area, those sirens are going to go off. So if you're watching us from Shakota and you still have the sirens going off or you heard them earlier, that's because just being proactive with those powerful, possibly damaging winds coming into the Shakota area. And it looks like they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Shakota, posted until 11:15, Mike.
All right. Thank you very much, Brandon. Meteorologist Emma Landeros continues monitoring. Hey, Emma, I know you went to OU. And unfortunately, what did you say, your apartment complex that you lived in got damaged?
Yes, Mike, just south of where the National Weather Service is actually at, just south of that, I did used to live at the Ab. They took what looks like a significant hit, lots of damage right now that we were seeing in the pictures. And in fact, we are continuing to see multiple reports all around the Norman area. It is very sad to see that damage, considering I did spend pretty much all of my undergrad there, Mike.
Yeah, and so I appreciate that update. Maybe you can swing that picture up from social media in just a few. If you want to just give me a shout out, say, hey, I've got it going on over here, and I will toss back to you. But total strikes now 632. What I believe we've lost some of those strikes on my radar because I only see a few of them, and well, that's the whole region. All right, let me focus on this a little more. In this general box, there's only been 25 strikes, so we've lost a lot of lightning within these cores, and that, just shows you signs that this is weakened considerably as it continues to move through the area. Still producing some heavy rainfall. This is moving right now towards 169. So let's go to our Wade's RV Weather Camera Network. Hey, let's go 71st and 169 right now. The heavier.
It's the Executive Homes Weather Center on 2 News Oklahoma.
Storms will be increasing across here.
The day's most unique take on Green Country weather.
Keeping you and your family prepared throughout the day.
The Executive Homes Weather Center on 2 News Oklahoma.